Welcome back to What's Your Hustle podcast. We're powered by UK&E TV and Hustle Castle Academy, your one and only bridge to learning new skills and content designed to improve your mindset and whatever you're building, be it a thriving business or a specialized career. We're here to ensure you learn from the best so you can become your best. Today, we're diving into 5 essential rules for transitioning from mentorship/followership to true leadership, brought to us by the insightful and inspiring Mr. Joshua Maponga. Don't forget to subscribe and share your best key takeaways in the comments below. Now enjoy the show. Rule number 1, don't look for people with material things or power, but look for people with wisdom.
How can people start thinking and seeing the world the way you are?
Those that love materials will end up with things. Those that love power will end up in offices. But those that love wisdom will end up finding the source of those that control, those that have power, and those that have materials.
Please say that one more time.
Those that love materials end up with things, and you can never have enough of things. It's an empty life full of things, and you're empty inside. But another group is looking for power, where they want to control people.
Influence.
And many times they can't control themselves, but they want to influence everybody else. But the real group that we must be looking for as young people, don't look for people with materials. Don't look for people with power. Look for people with wisdom and knowledge. Because wisdom controls power, and power builds materials.
Is this like saying become philosophers?
Philosophy is only a way of saying, I have had enough time to process some certain thoughts for you. And as much as you are a doctor also, and you've had enough time to know how to fix my teeth. As much as you are a mechanic also, say, I've had enough time to learn how to fix your car. So when you come to a philosopher, you're coming to a space where we have had enough time to process theories around the world and come up with conclusions that are not based on thumb-sucking, but on research, experience, spiritual interventions. And your mind is supercharged into spaces of processing thoughts that a common person would find difficult to do so.
Rule number 2, don't invest in profits, invest in folds like agriculture, generational wealth.
It's all up to you to move into the agricultural business, because there's no way Africa can constantly consume what we don't own. And if you take your money and put it in the bank, they give you 2 to 3% profit. But when you take your money into farming, you don't get profits, you get folds. The difference between profits and folds is that profit is part of the initial investments, whereas folds is the total return of what you invested initially. So a cow gives you 1 fold, because a cow produces another cow, and then another cow produces another cow. So it's 100% return on your investments. And many of us as Africans, we go to school to study, to run away from wealth, and run into poverty, and living in the midst of the city lives in the concrete jungle, only to die with certificates of non-transferable degrees behind your back, and a small little watch, and a medal that is worth nothing. Whereas when you invest in farming, you are able to leave an inheritance for your children. So if you're a Christian and you have read the Bible, a good, wise father leaves an inheritance for his children. We want to throw this on your face. Start thinking. Stop buying expensive techies and buying brands and glasses and putting them on your heads, buying stupid little cars that only end up killing you. Start investing in farming.
Rule number 3, stop over praying. Start working and building ownership. God said, I will bless the work of your hands.
Look into that graph. Look at that graph and find out how religious are those countries that are producing millionaires. I mean, we have more churches in Africa than we have industries. On every corner, there is a church. Like in some parts in Nigeria, in one building, you find 15, 20 churches. Ground floor, second floor, third floor, right up to the top. And some are coming at 9, some are coming at 11, some are coming at 2. Some at 10 in the evening. All of them are just praying and praying and praying. Hey, African people, stop praying too much. Start working.
God does not say, I will bless your prayers. He said, I will bless the labor of your hands, and by your sweat you shall eat, not through your prayers. So we cannot substitute our hard work with prayerful lives. Prayer will leave you in poverty. Hear me well. Prayer will leave you in poverty. So we need to learn how to work. Look into that graph and find out these countries that are producing millionaires. What religion are these people believing in? Maybe we need to change the gods that Africa has accepted to deal with these ones here that seem to be economically viable and progressive in terms of helping their own members. Can't be spending your whole day at church. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is choir, Friday youth day, Thursday women's day. What it is practice, then it's practice, then it is all these old age things. The whole week you are in church. When are you going to sit down and start making money? So we need to find out from these countries again what is the recipe of their success. And having discussed that in terms of their labor, we also need to find out what kind of tax facilities that they have in terms of the tax havens. How are they treating their investments? How did they structure their financial systems? You can also find out in those countries that are producing the most millionaires. Find out for me, of all these countries, how many of them have foreign investors in their country. Find out. How many of these countries on the top 15, top 20 that have millionaires, how many of them are working with foreign investments? How many of them are working with donor money? You may be shocked that they don't work with donor money. They don't work with foreign investments. And while you're asking that question, ask again these countries that have more millionaires. Who owns their banks? Who owns their banks? Who owns their insurance companies? These countries, who owns their insurance company? And while you are trying to answer that question, answer this one also. Who owns their land? Who owns their land? Because land is a means of accessing finances. So you walk up to the top 20 country companies and find out who owns their banks, who owns their insurance, and who owns their land, who owns their industry. And you, just when you thought you had it all, find out what kind of raw materials have they built their industries on. Are these locally produced? Find out again, are these locally produced goods? Are these locally produced raw materials? Where are they getting their raw materials from, and at what cost are those raw materials? And when you have answered that, find out again, are these countries democratic? They have the top 20 that are making the most millionaires. Are these countries democratic? When last did you hear of elections in Sweden? When last did you hear of elections in Switzerland? When last did you hear of elections in Hong Kong? When last did you hear of elections in Singapore? When last did you hear of elections in Denmark? While we as Africans are busy getting confused about these elections, 5 years, find out from these countries, are they democratic? And after answering the democracy question, find out if they conduct elections. And when last did they have elections, including Britain? When last did you hear of elections in Britain? And having answered that, you also want to find out not only about elections, but ask these countries again, how many political parties do they have? These countries that have the most millionaires, how many political parties do they have? How many political parties do they have? You will find that in Zimbabwe alone, while we're heading for elections here, 150 political parties, with every one of them wanting to be a president. So we want to find out.
Rule number 4. The last rule is study how the world runs, which is on business and money. Make money, lots of it, and buy the system to work in your favor.
The world runs on 4 forces. Force number 1 is the force of business. Come on, tell your neighbor, business. Come on, say business. Unfortunately, the church does not have a good relationship with money, because many of our sermons are there to condemn people who have made money. Once you make money, in the midst of the saints, you are selling drugs, you are evil, you have witchcraft, you are a criminal, there must be something that you are doing that is satanic. In fact, there's a time in this church's history where we're reading about a certain book that was written by a notorious author. He came to set the captives free. How cars are manufactured in the sea, how what. Many of these things that we're enjoying, perfumes and what are coming from the devil. So immediately you begin to have things. The first attribute church people give to you is that you are now in harmony with the devil. Yet the Bible teaches that you must be heads, not tails. Oh, that's the sermon that got my Greek teacher suspended from Solusi College, Obed Due. He comes around, Greek teacher, Professor Obed Due, and he says, our text for this morning is that we must be heads and not tails. Everyone says, amen. They didn't know what was up his sleeve. And he says, on the head, that's where you have the horns to do battle. That's where you have the eyes to see where you're going. That's where you can smell. That's where you can taste. In fact, all the 5 senses that run the body are locked up in the head. The rest of the body follows the head. And he says, many of us as professors and teachers hate to be on the head. We are at the tail. And then, of course, without being too notorious, he went on into the anatomy of what resides at the tail vis-a-vis what resides. No, this is not my sermon, Makladi. Don't look at me with funny eyes. This is not my sermon. I know I'm going to get an instruction at home. You were doing fine until you decided to say, but it's okay. And when he started explaining the difference between those that are leading and those that are following, of course, being in a religious space, he was only one word of telling people that you guys are full of what I cannot mention, because again, we're in church spaces. But people who were listening to the sermon, when they walked out from that sermon, they actually felt they had been told in very few words that if you are not on the head and you are on the tail, then we know how to define you. And the quality of your thinking cannot be head mentality, but tail mentality. And how dare we as Christians, we relegate our function from that of headship to that of being in the tail, where everything else we can't mention even in church happens because it will be called profane. Who is comfortable to live in the sanitation department of the economy? The sanitation of politics. The sanitation department of health. We have to wait for politicians to make decisions in the front. And we, being faithful followers of Jesus, will wait for the outcome. Now our children must be taught sex at the age of 4 years. When Chinese kids are manufacturing, engineering cell phones, technologies, ours are learning how to masturbate. What will they produce? First thing that controls the world is business. Come on, tell neighbor, business. Stop praying. Start thinking business. Stop employment. Start thinking business. Stop buying. Start thinking ownership. Stop spending your money. Start investing in things. Stop buying brands. Own the brands. Didn't you hear me? Create financial muscles. Those who have money, even when they have nothing between their teeth, people listen. Because money is power. Famous saying, money talks. The rest walks. I can't say it again because I'm in church. I feel so liberal today. If I had said everything that I needed to say, people would be jumping through the windows right now. Money talks, walks. Everything else, for the younger viewers, walks. Only money talks. A man with money can go. Excuse me. If Motsipe walks in here
we'll all be looking, where must he sit? Hey, Baba, hey, I'll sit. Hey, no more situlo malume. Hey, do you want to say anything? Do you have anything to say? Even if a man has nothing, but because you have money, money gives you the voice. So own businesses, guys. After you own businesses, buy the political system. So stop wasting money and stop wasting time apologizing about making money. Jasper, if you can make $1 million, it's not enough, Jasper. Make 5. 5 is not enough. Make 15. Make 20. Make 100. Shock me, Jasper. We don't need a committee to discuss on how to put air cons in the church, how to put a fence and around him, parking bays for 5 rand, 10 rand per person. One man can walk up, David himself, build up the temple all by himself. With no committee. From the cedar to the mortar to the bricks to the altar to the incense, everything, one man. And when the son gets into the temple, he does not sacrifice one bull. 1,000 bulls later. That's wealth that makes decisions without consultation. The church is a gathering of poor people. 16 committees later to discuss the 2,000 rand aircon. That mentality, the prodigal son, when he comes back, the elder brother says, but me, I never got a chance of having a goat with my friends. I feel like preaching today. And then my sermon would be, why crying for goats when you own the bulls? I don't have a goat to eat with my friends. When the young brother took everything that remained belongs to you. And you still cry for a goat. A goat. So why didn't you take a goat and eat with your friends? No, you're waiting for your father to die. So who is more evil, the one who left or the one who remained? Make money, guys. Young people, take it from me. Make money. Get into careers that make money. Social service has expired. Make money. After you make money, consolidate your money, buy the political system. After you buy the political system, level number 3, buy the legal system.
Thank you so much for joining us for this amazing, wonderful episode. Until next time, make sure you stay tuned for more content, and to support, you can hit the subscribe button. Thanks, it's Brian here, your AI host. Peace and blessings.